But let's get into Daily Pickle. There's just a couple of different things that happened. Last week, there was a shooting during a game at the Chicago White Sox game. And this is on the heels of about 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago. Fans came on the field and attacked the first base coach. I can't remember his name. I apologize, but they stabbed him.
It was a father and a son.
It was a father and a son. They jumped out of the stands. They stabbed the first base coach of the Kansas City Royals. Then there was another game. I think it was in Houston. Laz Diaz was the umpire down the line. People don't know. He's a Marine reservist. Kicked the crap out of the guy that attacked him. And then this is the latest. Before we get to Acuna in Colorado, this happened about 3-4 days ago in a Chicago White Sox game. A woman allegedly smuggled a gun through security in her belly fat.
Fat rolls.
Fat rolls. Tucked it under a fat roll. Got it through security. The gun accidentally discharged, shot the woman in the seat behind her in the calf and the thigh. We were just looking at the video. Nobody even heard the shot. That's how loud games can get. Maybe it was at a point where there was a little cheering going on, and pop, pop. And, I mean, it could have been a small caliber gun. Could have been a .22. They don't make a lot of noise.
The other thing, let's not, ignore where we are.
Yes.
I have been told since I was a very young
there.
I
played there.
Mess around
you
outside.
Take a right. They call it the concrete jungle. It is one of the toughest parts of the ghetto of Chicago.
Right, Cabrini Green.
I don't even know. Yes, and so you go down to the right, and there's so much crime down there. They're like, don't ever turn right out of the stadium. Just don't.
In that sense, to give you that little atmosphere, gunshots happen all the time.
Right.
And people think that they need guns on them all the time.
And I don't disagree with that, but it is also one of the strictest gun law Illinois and towns in America, and they still have unbelievable amount of shootings every weekend, et cetera. But that being said, let's get to the security. All the security are cops. They're off-duty Chicago cops, these are battle-tested people. The guy that was actually in my bullpen when I was there in the 90s, this guy was in charge of crime scenes, murder scenes, stuff like this. Guy had seen it all. So,
real deal
people. Got to do better. This cannot happen. And I'm not just saying baseball. It can't happen at any event. Can't happen at a concert. Can't happen where there's a bunch of people in 2023 with all the shootings we have going on in this country. Fast forward to last night, Rockies game. I was watching this last night, not the game, but when I saw it on social media, I was like, what? I mean, did he do something? I know he stole his 60th base, but 3 fans run on the field and accost Ronald Acuna Jr. in the middle of the game. And security, one guy, overweight and out of shape security guard, got out there. But there's still 2 other guys holding on to Acuna, one on his leg. The other one pushes him over. He could have busted his leg.
A lot of things could have happened, dude.
He could have been stabbed, could have been shot. I mean, so many different things. Could have been, sliced with a knife. Anything could have happened. This cannot happen, Rob Manfred. You have to do better. Spend more money on security. Get these local things. Going back to when I was the player rep, I knew the FBI people in every city we played. I knew the head of security at every stadium. In case something happened, like there could be a heart attack in the clubhouse. There could be somebody has an allergic reaction. Somebody did some drugs and they have an allergic. So many different things can happen in the course of a long season like this. And so you needed to know who these people were. I had their business cards. I had their phone numbers in case of emergencies. There could be something at the hotel. There was one time we got in a fight in a bar in Houston. We actually needed security to come and take down statements and talk to some of the players that were involved in it, myself included. But that being said, this is unacceptable in 2023 that 3 fans run on the field, get to the player, and Acuna Jr. doesn't know what to do. And honestly, I mean, this happened to Randy Myers. Guy jumped out of the stands at Wrigley. Randy, knowing he knows how to fight, he body slammed the dude and got the better of the guy, luckily. But this just can't happen.
You never know. I mean, we just told the story about a lady sneaking a gun in her fat folds. So who knows what else you can get in Major League Baseball stadiums?
What else you could smuggle in there?
The chemical stuff that I've seen on napkins, you just never know. You don't want to take the chance. It's always scary regardless. Acuna Jr., great sport about the whole thing. The dude was all smiles about it.
I'm not going to be that nice.
I don't think he realizes how dangerous it could have gotten.
Exactly.
We talk about the Hank Aaron breaking Babe Ruth's career record in the guys
he
that run
had
on
a
the
personal
field.
security guard because of so many death threats. His security guard was a cop, off-duty cop that carried a pistol.
I thought
He actually, during the time the two guys came onto the field to congratulate Hank Aaron, he was going to shoot them. He has admitted, I was going to run on the field and shoot them before I just realized they weren't going to hurt him. They were just going to congratulate him.
Did you have that?
That was the
thought?
70s. I think it was 1974.
But that is so vivid. I mean, obviously,
sticks out like
the moment
yesterday it
is so
happened.
vivid. Was that the thought when you heard about this with Acuna Jr.?
I don't want anybody to get shot, but I think we need...
I'm saying, was that the thought that these guys are running out to
hurt him?
To hurt him?
Did you see the guy that got carried away?
Oh, for sure, afterwards. But when I hear that the guys are running out at Acuna Jr.,
I don't even think baseball. I think Monica Seles. I think Monica Seles in Germany getting stabbed by a fan.
Yeah.
It can't happen, is what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that as a former athlete. Nobody should have that. It shouldn't. At a concert, you should feel safe. At any of a public event, you should feel safe that even the people sitting next to you have gone through security, have passed enough checkpoints to where some fat lady can't smuggle it in her belly fat. That's not right.
Unacceptable.
Unacceptable. I know
unacceptable.
You're trying to protect yourself from the environment outside the stadium, but you've now put everybody at risk. What if it was a little baby that got shot? What if it was a child?
So the gun did go off. The gun does shoot somebody.
Yeah, it does shoot a woman in the calf, could hit her femoral artery in her leg, and she bleeds to death.
So many things.
I was just thinking today, somebody brought this up again. Every kid under the age of 12 should get into every major league game for free.
Yeah.
Absolutely believe that. And especially since none of these stadiums are sold out anymore. What is it going to cost you to have these young kids and you're trying to grow the game?
You're going to make money.
They're going to buy. You're going to make money. They're going to buy stuff.
Money.
They're going to buy memorabilia. They're going to buy shirts, everything. But they need to be safe. So if the players aren't safe, the fans aren't safe. Holy cow, Rob Manfred! Why am I going to take my wife was just saying she wants to go to a football game this year. We're going to UConn on Thursday. I mean, come on. You got to have better security than that.
UConn security is so tight, by the way.
Yeah,
I actually just saw the guys that they're doing a sweep yesterday of the entire Rensselaer. Fire department, police department, even some even higher ups than that. You're right. State troopers are around there. They've got, dude, the one thing that
they also have their campus police are there too,
for
because
sure.
these are college athletes.
The one thing I love to watch, and I'm just when I'm killing time up in the press box, there's this whole room just for the police where they have binoculars and they have the eye on everyone. Like they've already got security footage all over the place, but they also have their own set of eyes watching the stands with binoculars and radio and like, watch this guy. Like section 226. He's stumbling right now. He's falling on a but yeah, go check that guy out.
Yep.
Like they have eyes on more than what you think, just like in any kind of casino. But you're right, man. This is so unacceptable, both of these instances in Major League Baseball.
Sometimes I forget that this happened, but I interviewed President Obama when he was in the White House, and I remember going through security to get into Nationals Park that day, and he was throwing out the first pitch opening day.
Washington Nationals, yeah.
We had snipers in the buildings across looking at us. We had snipers above and below us.
Oh, for sure.
We weren't even allowed to, we had to ask questions the Secret Service gave us. So if that's how we protect our president, we got to start protecting, and I've said this before, I'm not trying to make a political statement. Same thing with schools. We got to start protecting our schools and these soft targets. But it's becoming more evident that it's just stupidity. There's so many stupid people out there that at any given point, I mean, I've been watching it lately. Rock stars and musicians up on stage been getting hit by cell phones.
People throwing stuff at them.
So you're allowing people to bring their cell phones in, but they're chucking them at the stage. You won't allow people to drink bottles at venues. They have to either drink like from a can or a plastic cup, especially like at Xfinity. You know, when we sit close to the stage, you can't get by security. You have to pour whatever drink you have into a solo cup to walk down. I agree with all that. I have no problem going through extra security checkpoints to have people be safe, including the artist. I can't believe like some of these artists are getting clipped right in the face with cell phones. It's insane.
By the way, these teams where these instances have happened are bottom feeder teams. This was White Sox versus the A's.
Doesn't mean the security should be any more lax.
True. And this is Colorado Rockies versus the Braves. I would say even more so, Dibs.
I'm pissed if I'm a Brave. And the Braves organization, I'm like, you didn't protect my guy?
Believe it. But I'm just saying, when you are an A's fan right now and you are so far away from actually being competitive, Now you're taking it upon yourself to be a part of the action. I don't know about the White Sox and A's. I've always said this about the kiddo thing, too. If you are so far below 500, I think 10 games below 500, all 12-year-olds are free. You cannot charge them. Yeah. But if that's going to happen, man, I wouldn't want to send my 12-year-old to a White Sox game. No way going to a Chicago White Sox game unless I'm there.
By the way, we haven't even discussed this. Jerry Reinsdorf, by the way, fired Vice President Kenny Williams, been there for 20-plus years.
But Kenny Williams runs security.
And General Manager's Rick Hahn, he was fired as well. We didn't even talk about this. So we keep talking about the Yankees letting people go. Jerry Reinsdorf is from the same era as George Steinbrenner. He owns the Chicago Bulls as well, has won multiple world championships, and he's had enough. He's had enough. I mean, and listen, they tried to bring back Tony La Russa, Hall of Fame manager. That didn't work. They've spent a lot of money on free agency recently, and none of it has worked. And so he's making some sweeping changes in Chicago there. Needs to beef up security, too, like you said.
The AL West is kicking everyone's butt right now. The Mariners are on such a hot streak. They have leapfrogged the Rangers and the Astros into first place.
Pretty cool to watch,
those two teams are going to be wild card teams unless the Red Sox have anything to say about it. It will be pretty cool to watch, especially when we get into the playoffs. But yeah,
Mariners playing the way we thought they would play earlier.
I just like it because the Astros have ran away with this division for the last decade, it feels. And these two teams said they were going to be contenders. They meant it, but with their pocketbooks, and they're showing it on the field right now. And those, like, we talk about the AL East and still believe that's the best division in baseball, but the AL West top three contenders have something to say about that.
Very favorable schedule in the last 2 weeks. Other than the Astros, sub 500 teams, they lost one. They took 3 out of 4 from the Royals, swept the Astros, took 3 from them, 2 out of 3 from the White Sox, swept the Royals again, and are playing the Oakland Athletics. So you want to make up some ground. You couldn't get a better schedule. It's kind of the exact opposite of the Red Sox schedule right now. Right, Kurt? You're Red Sox, man. I'm so
this is tough
about what they did against those Astros. Letting Altuve get the cycle, man.
They got another opportunity tonight. Got another opportunity. Oh, Bayo's on the hill tonight.
It's like a kick in the groin, man.
Going up against JP France. Keep the hope alive, Dibs. Stop giving Kurt feeding off this pessimism.
After the guy had a single, double, triple, they should have drilled him. Honestly. You're not getting a homer, dude.
Amongst other things.
But that's the whole thing. I'm watching the dude that was pitching for the Red Sox. I'm like, dude, you're going to stand out here? I would not. After 5 runs, I'm fighting. I'm not giving up. I would not, in any level I've ever played at, would never give up more than 5 runs, or I will fight if it's not my day. But to give up 10 earned runs in less than 5 innings of relief work, dude, you'll never get that ERA down. They could release you now. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I'd rather have you think I'm a badass fighter and fighting, to get the hell out of this game than to sit there and just throw batting practice. That was rough to watch. I know you're trying to help the bullpen, but hey, my mates are going to have to pick up an inning or two here.
I thought his name was Bear Claw.
It's Bear Claw.
I saw it actually spelled out. Like Bear Claw. What a name for this pitcher.
And you could see it. He was wearing it on his sleeve, man. It sucked. He didn't have his best stuff last night, but
I hope that's not his best stuff. I mean, if that's the best stuff, you just shouldn't be here, man.
You guys know how on fire Julio Rodriguez is for the Seattle Mariners.
He's on fire. Dude, he had 17 hits in 4 games.
17 hits
J-Rod?
in 4 games. J-Rod, yes.
I don't know if I want the Rod at the end. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I don't want A-Rod. Don't call me A-Rod. Don't call me J-Rod.
That's why I go with A-Raj for Aaron Rodgers.
That's right, and that's better. A-Raj.
Yeah, you don't want
differentiate
to be
yourself.
Mapped up with
you want
that.
to stand out.
Yeah.
Don't blend in.
I don't want nothing to do with that cheating bum.
But old J-Rod is something to watch, man. I know it's Seattle, and there's a lot of 10 o'clock first pitches out there, but if he's at the plate, definitely take 5 minutes or however long it takes to watch that at-bat and enjoy. If he's out in the field and the ball comes his way, like he's had some Rob jobs that are classic.
He's a great young player.
I knew nothing of him before the
All-Star.
All-Star of last year.
But the thing about these young players is they're not marketed well. Like you're saying exactly what I say all the time. You don't know anything about him. Don't know anything about him. The kid's fantastic. He got a huge deal. Unlike the whole Wander Franco thing, which has been a debacle for the Rays, by the way, which we don't hear anything about lately, is disturbing. But listen, these teams that are playing better, are much better hitting teams with certain baseball things. Runners in scoring position, 2 outs. If you watch the Mariners and how they're winning a lot of these games, they're getting those clutch hits. And listen, Scott Service, whatever you thought about his career, he's been a heck of a manager. He's got these kids believing they can win, and that's what you want.
One thing, I'm sorry to bring my Cubbies into this. Cubs playing the Brewers in a big series, and I heard a stat last night watching the game that both of these teams are the best in the bigs, and they're not the best teams in the bigs, and they don't have the best rosters when you compare them with the other teams that are winning divisions. But the Brewers and Cubs watch the most pitches. They see the most pitches in the count, meaning the pitchers pitch more pitches to those two teams than any other teams in the league. And when we're talking about what the Red Sox are dealing with, we're talking about what your Reds are dealing with, man, it's all about getting those starters out and getting to these crappy bullpens that no one really has, especially when you're trying to win those should-win ball games. 3-2 counts go a long way, especially in September.
Getting eight pitch at-bats, 10 pitch at-bats, that's what the Red Sox and Yankees used to be known for. And I'll tell you what, the New York Yankees during their runs in the 90s and up to 2000, everybody was like they try to get the starter out of the game because back then starters went 7-8 innings. So they would sit there and take. It's tough as a pitcher when you know teams are taking and they're very comfortable with 2 strikes. It changes your philosophy. Now I have to throw it over the plate, and then they would burn you. And honestly, I wanted to bring up Teoscar Hernandez. Everybody talked about they were going to trade him. That was one of the best trades some team did not make. Yeah. The Mariners had gotten him from the Blue Jays in a trade. They did not turn around and trade Teoscar. He has rewarded them. But Suarez is an ex-Red. You've got Cal Raleigh is playing great. Kellenick's actually living up to some of his hype. Not all of it, but he's getting there. Colton Wong, we know Colton Wong. He's been around the major leagues.
Don't know why everyone gives up Colton Wong. Don't know why.
So a lot of the veteran players, along with the young studs in this lineup, it's very well put together. It kind of reminds me a lot right now of the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays did this. You've got the Astros are a lot like this. Now the Rangers are a lot like this. But the core has come up from your minor leagues.
Seattle's won the last 12 of 13. They're 9-1 their last 10. They're on a 4-game winner.
Like I told you, they kicked the crap out of the Royals. They've kicked the crap out of the White Sox. They kicked out all these sub-5, but they swept the Astros. And that's the team they were chasing. That's the one they leapfrogged. They both have 75 wins,
think about Red Sox win against the Astros in the next 2 nights. That's huge for them to go from 5.5 to 3.5.
All right. Today and tomorrow, the Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon has been going on. And for 75 years, they've been trying to strike out cancer. So donate today. Tune in to WEEI and Nesson tonight during the game so you can learn more about how you can donate. The Dana-Farber Institute is one of the best cancer research places and places to battle cancer on the planet. We've always talked to Nicole Barucci about this and the Pan Mass Challenge. So anything you can donate is appreciated.